My name is Riley Carter. I was 32 years old the night I learned that some people don't leave your life with yelling or slammed doors. They leave with a sentence spoken calmly over pasta and candlelight. I teach high school history. I make about $65,000 a year. I've been teaching for 10 years, and most days I genuinely love my job. I love watching students finally understand how patterns repeat, how power shifts, how slow, quiet decisions matter more than dramatic ones. Apparently, that mindset was the problem. My fiancé, Nathan Blake, worked in marketing. He made around $85,000 a year, sometimes more with bonuses. He loved nice restaurants, curated experiences, and being seen as someone on the way up. We've been together 3 years, engaged for 6 months. Wedding planned for early summer. So when I didn't realize I was walking into my own breakup. Halfway, that sentence never arrives gently. He took a breath, a practiced one. I've been thinking a lot about finances, about what our life will actually look like. I nodded. Then he said it. I don't think I can marry a teacher. I'm sorry, what? You're never going to make enough money, he said, his voice firm, reasonable. My dad made 6 figures my whole life. I grew up comfortable. I can't settle for struggling. People at nearby tables had gone quiet. Nathan didn't notice or didn't care. We're not struggling, I said. Riley, the way he said teacher salary, like it was something faintly embarrassing, made my stomach go cold. So what are you saying? I asked. I'm saying I can't do this, he said. I need someone with real ambition. Someone who wants more than just teaching. I felt strangely calm. I understand your concerns, I said. He blinked. You do? Of course. Financial security matters. You should marry someone who can provide the lifestyle you want. Relief washed over his face. Exactly. I knew you'd understand. I pulled my phone out of my bag. Before I turned the screen toward him. Account balance. $891,247.63. Nathan's face drained of color. What is that? My investment portfolio, I said. I've been building it since I was 20. Started with $5,000 my grandfather left me. Put in $500 a month for 12 years. Index funds, dividend stocks, compound interest. He stared. That's almost $1 million. Yes, plus $60,000 in savings, about $40,000 in bonds, no debt. Silence. So, I continued evenly, you're ending our engagement because I'll never make enough money, but you had no idea I'm sitting on close to $1 million in liquid assets. You never told me, he said faintly. You never asked, I replied. You saw teacher and filled in the rest. Why wouldn't you tell me? He demanded. Because I wanted to be loved for who I am, I said, not my net worth. I placed cash on the table. That should cover dinner. Riley, wait, he said. Let's talk about this. There's nothing to talk about, I replied. You were very clear. I stood. You can't marry a teacher. I respect that. And I walked out. My hands shook when I reached my car. My mind did not. That night, I went home, poured a drink, and sat in silence, thinking about 12 years of discipline Nathan never saw, and how easily he decided I wasn't enough. The morning after the dinner, I woke up feeling strangely hollow. Not devastated, not heartbroken in the cinematic way people expect. Just clear. 12 years of discipline does that to you. It trains you to sit with discomfort instead of reacting to it. I made coffee. Black, no sugar, same as always. Checked my phone, 23 missed calls. Texts stacked so tightly they blurred together, all from Nathan. I didn't answer any of them. At 9:14 a.m., there was a knock on my door. I should have ignored it. I didn't. When I opened, his eyes were red. Not crying red, sleep-deprived red. Can we talk? He asked softly. I crossed my arms. I don't think there's anything left to say. I was in shock last night, he said quickly. I reacted badly. I said things I didn't mean. You said. He winced. Riley, we've been together 3 years, he said. That has to count for something. It did. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant. I cut him off. Yesterday, I was just a teacher. Today, I'm acceptable because you know my net worth. That's not fair. It's accurate. I looked at him carefully. No, I said, you threw it away at dinner. I just accepted it. His voice, I felt it then, the flicker. 3 years is real. Shared routines, shared jokes, shared futures imagined quietly in bed at night. But the sentence kept replaying in my head. I can't marry a teacher. Please leave, I said. His face collapsed. Riley. Go, I repeated. He lingered for a moment, then set the coffee on the floor and walked away. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. I recognized the number immediately. Diane Blake, I answered. That was my second mistake. Riley, she said sharply. What is this nonsense I'm hearing about you ending the engagement? It's not nonsense, Diane, I said. Nathan ended it. That's not how he tells it. Did he mention why? She hesitated. He said you disagreed about finances. He told me he can't marry a teacher because I don't make enough money. Well, she said slowly, teaching isn't exactly a high-paying career. I closed my eyes. I have almost $1 million saved and invested, I said calmly. Silence. You what? 12 years of disciplined saving, investing, living below my means. Another pause. Well, she said finally, that certainly changes things, doesn't it? No, I replied. It doesn't change anything. Riley, you're being dramatic. Nathan loves you. Nathan loves financial security. That's unfair. It's accurate. You're throwing away a good man, she snapped. He's ambitious, attractive. Any woman would be lucky. Any woman who wants to be valued for her bank account, I said. How dare you speak to me like that? Pretty easily, I replied. Please don't call me again. I hung up and blocked her number. 5 minutes later, my phone rang again. Different number. I sighed and answered. Riles, said Evan, Nathan's younger brother. What the hell happened? I explained everything. The dinner, the words, the portfolio, Nathan's sudden reversal. He was quiet for a long moment. Damn, he said finally. That's bad. Yes. He's always been weird about money, Evan admitted, but that's brutal. Now you know. Is it true? He asked. The portfolio? Yes. That's incredible, he said, genuine awe in his voice. How did you even do that? I gave him the short version. He laughed softly. Nathan had no idea, did he? No. This is going to destroy him, Evan said, especially when my dad finds out. Your dad already tried, I said. He'll have to live with the result. Evan exhaled. For what it's worth, you're better off. I know. After we hung up, I sat on my couch and stared at the wall. I wasn't grieving the relationship anymore. I was grieving the illusion. By noon, the messages started again. From new numbers. We can fix this. I was scared. Money doesn't matter. I screenshotted everything. Then I replied once. Money didn't matter until you decided it did. We're done. Do not contact me again. He called immediately. I declined. Again. Declined. Then the text turned ugly. You're insane. You'll regret this. You're exactly what I said. A nobody teacher who'll die alone. I saved every word because something in my gut told me this wasn't over. And because history had taught me one thing very clearly. When people feel exposed, they don't reflect. They escalate. I didn't hear from Nathan for 3 full days after the last message. 3 quiet days. Long enough for me to start believing the worst had passed. That was naive. On the 4th morning, I was halfway through my second period class, Junior American History, when the intercom crackled. Miss Carter, please report to the main office during your prep. No urgency in the voice, which somehow made my stomach drop harder. I finished the lesson on Reconstruction, answered a few questions, and walked down the hall trying to ignore the feeling tightening in my chest. The head administrator, Dr. Whitmore, was waiting in his office when I arrived. He didn't ask me to sit. That's when I knew. Riley, he said carefully, I received a call this morning from Richard Blake, Nathan's father. My jaw tightened. About what? He claims you've been harassing his son, Dr. Whitmore continued, and that you're emotionally unstable. He implied, strongly, that this instability may extend into your classroom. For a moment, I just stared at him. That's completely false, I said. I haven't contacted Nathan once since he showed up at my apartment. I assumed as much, Dr. Whitmore said. But he's threatening to take this to the school board. Of course he was. He knows people, Dr. Whitmore added. He made sure to mention that. I felt a flash of anger then. Not loud, not explosive, but sharp. What do you need from me? I asked. Documentation, he said immediately. Everything. Who contacted whom, when, what was said. I nodded. I already have it. That surprised him. You do? Yes, I said. Screenshots, call logs, messages, dates, times. His shoulders relaxed slightly. Good, he said. We'll keep it on file. If this escalates, we'll need a clear timeline. That night, I didn't grade papers. I built a record. I laid everything out chronologically. The dinner, the breakup, Nathan showing up uninvited, Diane's call, the messages, the insults. I saved everything in multiple places. And then, right on cue, Nathan texted again. New number. My dad just wants to help. If you apologize, we can move past this. We love each other. I added it to the file. Then I replied once. Stop contacting me. He called immediately. I declined. Again. Declined. The next message was venomous. You're ruining my life. You're doing this on purpose. You think you're better than us because you have money. I screenshotted it. Then I turned my phone face down and went to bed. 2 days later, Dr. Whitmore called me back into his office. This time, there were other people there. The school board. Richard Blake had formally filed a complaint. He claimed I was emotionally volatile, vindictive, unfit to be around students, as if heartbreak made someone dangerous. Dr. Whitmore presented my documentation calmly, methodically. Dates, times, evidence. The board chair, a woman with steel gray hair and zero patience for theatrics, looked up from the papers. So, she said, Mr. Blake's daughter ended an engagement, and now he's attempting to retaliate professionally? Yes, Dr. Whitmore replied. She turned to me. Miss Carter, do you intend to resume this relationship? No, I said immediately. Good, she replied. Then there's no issue here. She turned back to the others. Has anyone besides Mr. Blake lodged a complaint about Mrs. Carter? No, another administrator said. We have emails from parents praising her. The chair nodded once. Complaint dismissed, she said. Mr. Blake is banned from school property. If he continues this behavior, we will pursue legal action. Just like that. Richard lost. I thought that would end it. It didn't. A week later, I ran into Richard Blake at Target. I was comparing prices on olive oil when I felt someone step too close. We need to talk, he said. No, we don't, I replied, not turning around. You humiliated my son. I ended a relationship, I said. That's not humiliation. You led him on for 3 years, he snapped. I finally faced him. He ended it, I said calmly. He told me he couldn't marry a teacher. That's normal concern, Richard barked. Money matters. And when he found out I had money, I said evenly. Suddenly, it didn't. His face reddened. How dare you? You raised him, I replied. You should recognize the pattern. I turned to leave. He grabbed my arm. Don't walk away from me. I yanked my arm free. Touch me again, I said quietly, and I'm calling the police. A store employee appeared. Is there a problem here? No, I said. He was just leaving. Richard left, shaking with rage. I went straight from Target to the police station, filed a report. The officer nodded sympathetically. Ex's family, he said. They always think intimidation will fix things. That night, I got an email from a law office. They were calling on behalf of Richard Blake regarding a defamation claim. He wanted a public apology and $25,000. I laughed out loud. Then I forwarded the email to a lawyer friend. She called me 5 minutes later. They're bluffing, she said. Classic scare tactic. Keep documenting. So I did. Because by then, I understood something very clearly. This was never about love or reconciliation. It was about control. And people who lose control don't stop quietly. They just get louder. By the time the next incident happened, I was exhausted in a very specific way. Not emotionally wrecked, not crying in the shower exhausted. I was hyper-aware exhausted. The kind that comes from constantly checking exits, scanning rooms, keeping your phone charged because you don't trust silence anymore. It had been almost 6 weeks since the dinner. 6 weeks of documentation. 6 weeks of ignoring blocked numbers that kept multiplying. 6 weeks of pretending my life hadn't been invaded by people who refused to accept the word no. Things were finally starting to quiet down. That should have warned me. It was a Thursday afternoon, last class of the day, juniors, American history. We were halfway through a discussion on FDR's first 100 days when there was a knock at the classroom door. Not loud. Not hesitant, confident. I turned, already irritated. When I opened the door, Nathan was standing there, holding flowers. Bright, overdone, performative. My stomach dropped straight through the floor. "Nathan," I said quietly, "what are you doing here?" "I needed to see you," he said. His eyes were glassy. "Please." 30 students sat frozen behind me, pretending not to listen while absolutely listening to everything. "You can't be here," I said. "I'm teaching." "I know," he said quickly. Can we talk for 1 minute?" "No." He stepped forward anyway. "Riley, I was wrong," he said, voice cracking. "I was scared and stupid, but I love you. I always have." The room went dead silent. I felt every pair of eyes on my back. "You need to leave," I said. One of my students, Marcus, who had never learned the art of restraint, leaned back in his chair and said loudly, "Wait, isn't that the guy who dumped you for being broke?" A ripple went through the room. Nathan's face drained of color. Another student whispered, "Oh my God, it is him." I closed my eyes for half a second. "Nathan," I said calmly, "this is not appropriate. You need to leave before security comes." "You told them?" he whispered. "You told your students?" "I used the situation as an anonymous example during our personal finance unit," I said evenly. "I didn't name names." "They know it's me," he said, panicking. "That's not my responsibility," I replied. The hall monitor appeared at the door. "Sir, you need to check in at the front office." "I just need 1 minute," Nathan begged. "Office," the monitor said firmly, "or I call security." Nathan looked at me one last time, like he expected rescue. I didn't give it. He left. I closed the door. 30 students stared at me. "So," a hand went up. "Miss Carr," I smiled, small but real. "Thank you." He showed up unannounced, I said, before he could ask. "I know," he replied. "He's officially trespassed. If he returns, he'll be arrested." That should have been the end. It wasn't. That night, Evan called. "I'm so sorry about today," he said. "My mom drove him there. Thought it would be romantic." "It was humiliating," I replied. "I know. Tell them to stop," I said, "or I'm filing for a restraining order." He hesitated. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "How did you actually save that much?" I explained. He was silent for a moment. "I've wasted so much money," he admitted. "I'm almost 30 and I've got nothing." "Start now," I said. "Your future self will thank you." I was at my usual coffee shop when a woman sat down across from me. "Riley Carter?" she asked. "Yes." "I'm Laura," she said. "I work with Nathan." I braced myself. "I wanted to warn you," she continued. "Nathan's been telling people you were financially abusive, that you controlled all the money." "That's insane," I said. "We had separate finances." "I know." He bragged about your money right after the breakup, texted coworkers about it. When people didn't sympathize, he changed the story. I took the card. "Thank you." "Document everything," she added. "Trust me." I already was. Because by then, I understood something deeply. When someone is humiliated publicly, they don't learn. And Nathan hadn't finished yet. By the time anger burns fast, what replaces it is colder, quieter, more permanent. Clarity. The financial abuse rumor never became a formal complaint, but it drifted through Nathan's workplace like smoke. Whispers, side eyes. A few people believed him, most didn't. Apparently, it's hard to sell the image of a controlled, silenced woman when that woman owns her condo, pays her own bills, and has a decade-long paper trail of financial independence. Nathan, on the other hand, began unraveling in ways I didn't have to witness directly. Evan kept me updated, sparingly, carefully, like someone relaying weather warnings rather than gossip. "He hasn't gone to work in over a week," Evan told me during one call. Just stays home, replays everything, obsessed with fixing it. Fixing what? I asked. You, Evan said quietly. I closed my eyes. Tell him there is nothing to fix. I've tried. Apparently, Diane hadn't helped. She doubled down, defending, excusing, reframing reality until it bent around Nathan's feelings. Richard, furious that intimidation hadn't worked, had gone silent instead. That silence felt more dangerous than his yelling, but nothing followed it. No new emails, no new threats, no new numbers lighting up my phone. I changed my locks anyway. The quiet that followed was unsettling at first. When you live under constant pressure, peace feels suspicious, like a trap. I kept waiting for another shoe to drop. It didn't. What dropped instead was something else. Relief. I stopped checking my phone obsessively, stopped bracing when the doorbell rang, stopped rehearsing responses to arguments no one was making anymore. I poured myself back into my routines, teaching, running in the mornings, cooking simple meals, automatic transfers into my investment accounts every month, just like always. One afternoon during my personal finance unit, a student raised her hand. "Miss Carter," she said, "do you regret ending your engagement?" The room went quiet. I considered the question honestly. "No," I said. "I regret not seeing the truth sooner." A few students nodded like they understood something bigger than history that day. After class, Dr. Whitmore stopped by my room. "Just checking in," he said. "Everything okay?" "Yes," I replied. And for the first time in weeks, it wasn't a defensive answer. "That's good," he said. "You handled everything with remarkable composure." I smiled faintly. History teaches you a few things. A week later, I ran into Laura again at the coffee shop. "She's still telling people stories," Laura said, stirring her drink, "but fewer are listening." "That's usually how it goes," I replied. "You really dodged a bullet," she added. "He's exhausting." I didn't feel the need to defend Nathan anymore, or explain him, or contextualize his behavior. That chapter was closed. 2 months after the dinner, my portfolio crossed $912,000. The market had been kind. I didn't celebrate. I just smiled at the number and closed the app, because the money had never been the point. The point was what it revealed. Nathan had loved the idea of me until my reality didn't fit his expectations. He respected ambition, but only when it looked expensive. He wanted security, but only if it came wrapped in status he could show off. And the moment he realized I had power he hadn't seen, he panicked. People always do when they realize they misjudged someone they thought they were above. I changed my phone number, blocked every remaining contact tied to that family, kept only people who knew how to respect boundaries. Life became quiet, peaceful, predictable in the best way. Sometimes, after class, students would linger to ask about investing, about compound interest, about starting early. I told them the truth. That wealth is built quietly. That discipline isn't flashy. That your worth isn't determined by your salary or who approves of it. One student laughed once and said, "So being just a teacher isn't so bad." I smiled. "No," I said, "it's actually pretty powerful." As for Nathan, he's blocked everywhere. His family, too. I don't know how his story ends. I only know how mine continues. Single, financially secure. Teaching kids the history of power and how to recognize it when it shows up unannounced in your life. And this time, when it did, I didn't flinch.